and then, okay, do you get that? Meeting is being recorded. So, okay, thank you so much. S- Srinath, can you just remove that alert because I'm not able to see my screen now? Okay, I'll unshare otherwise. Abhishek, can you help me?
Yeah, I think you can unshare and then share. Not sure
Ah,
that
okay. Yeah,
why it is not done. Sorry for that.
it's like stuck right now. So I'm sorry. So no problem. You have already given the answers. I'll try stopping the sharing and then, yes, it's giving me an option, leave the meeting. Leave the meeting or continue. So due to some reason, it's stuck after this recording thing came.
No, you have to
No, you
give
have to click
continue, ma'am.
on.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have
well,
to click on
it's
continue.
stuck. It's stuck actually. I'm not able to click on
Oh,
continue. That's why I asked the Zoom master if you can help me. No problem. See, this is how contests are. You think you are ready with your PPT, you are ready with the contest chair, and the CJ will be ready with all the planning, and then suddenly in online speech contest, what happens? The contestant drops off, right? The contestant name has been announced twice. Contestant was there till just 30 seconds back, everything was going fine, but the contestant drops off. So all these eventualities you will have to plan and then try and anticipate some of these eventualities, like what could go wrong, right? It's like about risk management. And I'll have to probably stop. Okay, so can you help stop sharing at least, Abhishek? The screen is completely stuck after this meeting is being recorded. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So this is what happens. So here you have, when you are stuck, what happens in Toastmasters? You have people like the Zoom master. Today we have Srinath and team. I would like all of you to please clap for Abhishek, Toastmaster Abhishek, who helped with this kind of issue. 1 second. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to share again. You let me know if you are able to see the screen. Are you able to see, or
Yeah, it's pure white screen.
okay, I think there's something wrong. Abhishek, you'll have to help me. You can share your screen so that my screen sharing will be interrupted.
yep.
Yes. So don't worry. In the contest, if this happens, no, just chill out, smile, and then wait for the Zoom master or wait for your partner. Say, for example, if you are the CJ, you take the help of the leadership, the contest leadership team. That is the contest chair, right? You just ask them for help. That's it. I think this is not something I planned. Okay, I did not plan that this will get interrupted or anything, but it happens in contest also. Things happen. Contestant may drop off, but the main thing to remember is maintain your cool, because it is a test of your leadership skills. You need to maintain your cool, handle stress appropriately. I think that is one important learning from contest, isn't it? Stress management. Yes, stress management. Okay. So thank you so much, Abhishek and the Zoom master team. I think they have beautifully removed that screen sharing issue. I hope now you can see my keynote. Are you able to see that?
No, ma'am. Answer again.
Oh,
Fortunately,
okay.
we then again cannot see.
Okay. I think something went wrong. No issues. So we'll try again. If suppose the contestant is not able to connect, what do we do? We give them time, right? Do you know what happened in the last district conference, last division conference? If a contestant gets disabled, what do you do? What do you do? Do you just disqualify them? You can type yes or no in the chat window.
We'll give them two chances, Manju.
Uh, yeah, we give time for them to rejoin, right? Am I right? So was that Priya? I couldn't hear your name.
Yes,
Was that?
Manju, it's Priya.
Yeah, Priya. I recognize your voice. Okay. So Priya, thanks for attempting that question. So we are given another chance to come back, and that was last year. It was for 2 minutes, right? Up to 2 minutes time was provided to the contestant so that they can come back. So in a similar way, in any contest eventuality, suppose the contest chair gets dropped off, yes, you can call up the Zoom master. You can also inform the CJ, because contest chair and CJ are like buddies, like 50-50. 50% of the responsibility is there with CJ, 50% with contest chair. So if he gets dropped off, immediately they can alert the CJ. So now I have a request. I'll have to ask my partner, distinguished Toastmaster Subramaniam Srinivasan, if he can start off with his PowerPoint, because my PowerPoint is stuck. So since I'm stuck, now I'm going to ask my partner, my teammate, distinguished Toastmaster Subramaniam Srinivasan, would you be able to start off your session? And I'll continue after you're done.
Yeah, sure. Manju.
Thank you so much. Yes. So the flow is like this. First, we plan to have the introduction, but since my screen is stuck, we'll have to wait. We'll go with the second thing, that is Introduction to Contest Management by distinguished Toastmaster Subramaniam Srinivasan, who works in Bank of America and has extensive judging experience as well as contest chair experience. So over to distinguished Toastmaster Subbu for his presentation on contest management. Followed by that, we'll have my session continuation. I'll be just giving some introduction to the rule book, and then we'll move on to Toastmaster Vaishali Sridhar Babu, his session, her session on voting judges as well as ballots. Okay, DTM Subbu, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Manju. Can you please confirm if my screen is visible?
Yes, we can see some, I think,
Okay.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a car racing video.
So what comes? Yes. What comes to your mind when you look at this?
Perfect coordination.
Any answers? Perfect coordination. Brilliant. Okay. Any other answer?
Teamwork.
Okay. Perfect coordination. Teamwork. Excellent. Okay.
Well trained.
People doing their own
Okay, so
part,
collaboration
not
with-
disturbing others.
I think
So that-
anticipating
Exactly. Okay.
anticipating the challenges and being ready, being proactive.
Yes, anticipating the challenges and being ready. To confirm that, if you see the people, two of the members in the leftmost side, they are backups. They are not doing anything. They are standing. So that is what they are anticipating any risk that might happen during this particular activity, and they are very, very much ready so that they can support the team activity, right? So let me unshare and then share my PPT again. Hope my screen is visible now. The PPT is visible now.
Yes, sir, we can see.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the reason why I felt that that particular picture or a short GIF format video, so why I felt that we should show that, we should look at it, is that this is how the contest management team, the entire contest officials, chief judge, and the entire team should work like this. The complete team should work, the entire team should work in tandem. It's similar to like the Formula 1 racing pit stop. So everybody does the work, and there are some backup role players even in our contest management team if we are able to get it, and then we would be able to conduct a beautiful and the smooth, seamless contest. Okay, so speech contest rulebook. If you see, this is the updated version. Please note the dates here. The picture, the first page is this one, the screenshot that we have put it on the right hand side, and this is the version July 1st 2021 to June 30th 2022. You have to refer only this till June 30th 2022 because there are some changes added as part of this. Okay, so there are several rules covered as part of different contests as part of our Toastmaster International. However, right now we will be concentrating only on humorous speech contest and evaluation speech contest related contest management guidelines. Who are the key role players for contest? Any answers? Who are the key role players for conducting a smooth contest? Contest chair. Okay. Contest masters.
Timers,
Okay.
tally counters.
Okay.
Contestants.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Judges.
Okay. So yeah. Chief judge, then we have voting judge. The number of voting judges depends on the level as per the Toastmaster International guidelines. It is mentioned in the speech contest rulebook. However, all those details would be covered in the next couple of sessions. Then tie-breaking judge, timer, it is recommended that we should have at least 2 timers for conducting a smooth contest, particularly in this online mode. And sergeant at arms 3 minimum should be present. I would describe in the later slides why we should have 3. Tally counters, yes. 2. Host, admin, or tech master. So since most of us are using Zoom platform, we call them as Zoom masters. However, there are other platforms as well, like Microsoft Teams and several other platforms. So the tech master, if you are able to have 2 of them for each of the contest, or the way you can manage with these tech masters, it would be helpful. Okay, so these are the role player selection that are done by the contest chair. The first is the contest masters. Okay, so since we have most of the time as an event, we conduct humorous speech contest and evaluation speech contest on the same day. So you can have 1 contest master for each of the contests. Sergeant at arms, the number I have mentioned earlier, host, admin, or tech masters. And these 3 roles would be briefed, not just selected, even the briefing would be done by the contest chair. Okay, contestants, of course, contestants would be nominating themselves, and then they get, after winning, they would be proceeded to area, division, and district, right? So contestants should be briefed by the contest chair. Okay. Timers, tally counters, as per the rule book, it is stated that chief judge has to appoint these role players. However, chief judge can request the contest chair to help and support in bringing these role players. Okay. However, the briefing has to be done by the chief judge to timers and tally counters. Right. So there are some eligibility. We have mostly covered, we mostly look at and read about the eligibility for being a contestant, for being a chief judge or the judges. Even for role players, these are very subtle points that we have to always consider in our mind. So first is all role players should be a member in good standing. That has to be strictly followed. And this is a new rule that has been put. Contest officials must not serve in more than 1 role for the same contest at the area contest, at the area when practical, division, district, region, quarterfinals, semifinals, and final levels. So this is a rule that you have to keep it in your mind. And the rule, location of the rule I have mentioned here, page number 10 of the speech contest rulebook, point 5, 5A, 10th point. Okay. What are the key responsibilities of a contest chair? Okay, first, who selects the contest chair?
The club.
Club ExCom. Okay.
President and VP.
Okay, for area director would be selecting, and then similarly for higher levels, the respective leaders would be selecting. What are the key responsibilities of the contest chair?
Preparing a checklist and work according with the checklist along with the discussion about all the directives.
Excellent. The entire training revolves around the checklist. Thank you. Next. Okay. Any other responsibility?
Appointing the chief judge.
Yes.
Appointing the chief judge.
Yes, appointing the chief judge, very important point. Thank you so much. Appointing the chief judge and also appointing the role players that we discussed in the previous slide. Yes.
Ensure that the contestants' forms and other things are collected and compiled, and they are in good standing.
Yes,
they verify their
eligibility. Yes, eligibility. Yeah. Okay. So these are some of the key responsibilities that I would like to discuss. First is arrange rooms or platforms. Since it is online right now, we should ensure that we have a platform that everybody could log in and everybody is well aware of. If there is a new version of Zoom, you have to ensure communicate to all the role players, contestants, chief judge, and the entire team that there is a new Zoom platform that you have to download. So all those arrangements has to be done. Next is audiovisual equipment arrangements. If there is any such arrangement, particularly in the online contest, we have to also facilitate the contestants to test those arrangements. It's not just simple arrangement. There should be a proper dry run, not just for the contestants, even for the role players and chief judge, so that they are familiarized with the particular platform and they know how to come and log in and also share if anything has to be shared. Okay, so set their virtual background, all these testings, and also the audio visual, where should they stand, set the speaking area. All these arrangements has to be done, taken care. Contest budget. Okay, so in case we need to buy, for winners, we need to buy the trophies, mementos for chief judge and his or her team, certificates, winning certificates. If there is any printing cost, printing required to print the certificates. Okay, contest related documents that has to be sent to the chief judge. Okay, if any. Right now it is online, everything is editable mode, whereas these has to be taken care. And snacks, of course, right now it is out of scope. And these are a couple of guidelines. Toastmaster International guidelines is mentions that TI logo, Toastmaster International logo, and the word, the phrase Toastmaster International, these are all brands, right? So any locally purchased trophies that we purchase in our nearby shops, right? And we give it as winner trophies or as part of mementos. These logos, these branded elements should not be printed in those trophies or mementos that we buy it from local, unless they are purchased from the Toastmaster International merchandise. Also, additionally, the District 120 guidelines specifies that cash or cash-based vouchers like the Amazon vouchers, Flipkart vouchers, all these should be strictly avoided in case if you are giving it as mementos as part of for the chief judge and his or her team, or for any for even the role players. Okay, so try to avoid it. In case if you have any clarification, kindly write to the PQD team and also the finance team. Okay, so this is the guideline that you have to follow. PR and promotion activities. Of course, as a contest chair, you can't do everything individually. You can have a separate team. You can have a PR chair and PR team who can help you, help the contest team to do enough promotion. Next is the agenda. Agenda has to be well set and it has to be circulated to all the role players, contestants, chief judge, to everybody, so that they get to know when the contest starts, okay, and how far we are able to stick with the timing. Take care of any special invites. If there is any event, if there is any, of course, there would be for bigger events like district, division level or district level and all, there would be a separate conference chair team. However, if you are in charge, try to take care of special invites, like you have to invite district director or PQD or CGD. So you have to additionally take care of these special invites as well. Okay, so before the contest, what are the contest chair's responsibilities? Before the contest. Okay, brief the contestants, yes. Okay.
Dry run.
Dry run, yes, very important.
Bio and
contestant forms, yes. Contestant forms should be obtained upfront, and then, yeah, right. And also
Preparing the agenda for the contest.
Yes, preparing the agenda for the contest. Okay, thanks. So fix the chief judge. Somebody told earlier, fix the chief judge well in advance. Please note that word, well in advance, right? So it should not be the last minute. It will be very difficult for the chief judge to coordinate with the team, bring in a set of voting judges and tie-breaking judge. So please fix the chief judge well in advance. Very, very important. And these are contestants' eligibility. Member should be he or she should be a paid member in good standing, and the club to which the member or the contestant belongs to should also be in a good standing. Since it is evaluation in humorous speech contest, as such, there are no speech-based qualification like we have it in international speech contest. And the other burgundy color highlighted are the new rules. It is present in the location page 7.7 of the speech contest rulebook. It states, if you are a contest official, okay, as part of these 3 points, you are not eligible to be a contestant. First is voting judge, tie-breaking judge, or chief judge at the same contest type. At the same contest type, in which they would be competing beyond the club level in any district. Even if you are not, if you are going to be one of these officials in different district, not in district 120, still you should not, you are not eligible. Okay. Timer, counter, sergeant at arms, or any other contest official role for the same contest in which they would be competing. Okay, so this one, of course, if you are a contest chair or any of the role players in the same contest, obviously you can't be a contestant. And if you are a presenter of an educational session, a contest chair, contest toastmaster, or an event committee chair for the event at which the contest is held, including area, division, and district levels, as well as international convention. So even as part of, if you are a presenter of an educational session, or playing any of these crucial roles from area level, division and district level, still you can't be a contestant. You are not eligible. So please remember, these are the contestants' eligibility that you have to take in mind and check with the contestant. Okay, if you have to notify, this is one point. Share the notification winner of previous level contest with the chief judge. So if you are a area contest chair, obviously the club contest chair would have sent out. The club contest chief judge would have sent out the notification winner sheet to you. Okay, as a area contest chair. So in order to determine, in case if there is any dropout of the contestant before the contest, check with the alternate contestants. Okay, in their ranking. That is why you have to, if needed, you can share this. This one scenario, can you read this and please let me know your answer. Okay, so Andy.
Subbu, I have a question. The
Yes.
question is, in case somebody goes as a test speaker for a club,
Yes.
would that person be
Yes.
eligible to be a contestant?
Somebody goes as a, in the same contest?
This is Bobby here, Subbu. The question is,
Yes.
in case
Yes.
I am a test speaker in one of the contests, will I be eligible to be contest?
You are meaning the same contest?
Yeah, let's say that in an evaluation contest, I go to another club as a test speaker. Will I be able to be a evaluation contestant?
Manju, would you like to answer that?
Actually, yeah, shall we do one thing? Can you put your question in the chat window, because there is some background, some sound. Yeah, so I'm not able to. Yeah.
Okay, Manju, I will type it.
Yeah, you can type it in, and moreover, we'll do one thing. We'll keep all the questions in the chat and we'll take it up. I think MCs will help us deal with the questions at the end. At the end, I think Subbu, DTM Subbu will be answering the questions. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Manju. So this is one scenario. Can you please read it? Let's say assume a member, Andy. He participates in his club contest that is held on 1st of October 2021 and also wins the first place. On September 30th, his membership has elapsed and he forgot to renew his membership. He actually forgot. Okay. On 2nd of October, after the day of contest winning, he remembers, realizes, and that he was an eligible contestant in the previous day contest and he pays his membership dues. Now, the club contest is over. He has renewed, though he was ineligible on the day of contest, he has renewed after the next day, after the club contest was conducted. In the area contest chair finds out this fact. Okay, there is one tool, eligibility assistant. With that, he or she finds out that on the day of club contest, Andy was ineligible to be a contestant. What should the area contest chair do?
Qualify Andy.
Disqualified.
Brilliant. So these are the options. Permit Andy to contest in area contest since he is ineligible. Eligible to be a contestant in area contest. This is not allowed because he was ineligible in the club contest. The answer is right. Disqualify Andy since he was ineligible in his previous level of contest. Okay, so the answer is B. Eligibility could be determined by a tool called eligibility assistant which is present as part of Leadership Central. And this is the rule that governs this particular answer. Okay, it is present in page number 6.2. Now, this is the second scenario. Let's say Rohan is a member in Club A of District 120 and also a member in Club B of District 98, different district. Assume he meets an eligibility requirements, all the eligibility requirements as part of both the clubs. Which are in different districts, will he be permitted to compete in both the club contest?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. So the answer is yes. This is the rule that states there. Then Rohan emerges as a winner, first place in both his clubs belonging to different districts. Okay. So if you see one club is in District 120, another club is in District 98, can he still progress in the area contest? Yes. From both the clubs?
He has to choose one of the areas.
Okay, thank you. So answer is no. No contestants can compete in more than one area speech contest of a given type, even if the two areas are in different divisions or district. Okay, so this is very, very important. You see, it is very difficult. It might be difficult for the contest chair to check this particular scenario. However, you can you can check with your area director or your district officers to guide on this. Okay, so what are the contestants' briefing that has to be primarily taken care by the contest chair? What are the points that has to be majorly covered during the contestants' briefing?
Eligibility criteria.
Okay, eligibility criteria. Thank you. Any other answer?
Plagiarism. There should not be any plagiarism.
Plagiarism, yes. Yes, plagiarism.
They cannot refer to.
Yes.
They cannot refer to other speakers.
Protest process.
Yes, protest process. Okay, you have to describe about the protest process. Okay.
The arrangement in case they drop out, what will be the conditions that has to be briefed to them?
Yes, yes. How would you deal with those contingencies? Yes, right. Okay, so these are
also speaking order.
Yeah, speaking order and also props. Somebody mentioned about props. Thank you so much. So the props also has to be known by the known to the contest chair. It has to be shared by the contestants to the contest chair. Okay, so ensure presence of all the contestants. You have to ensure during the briefing all the contestants are present. Review rules put up in the contest rulebook and any practices followed in our district of our online contest. Okay, so last year we had addendum that was that which TTM Reena had prepared and it was shared with all of us. So, but basically you have to stick to all the rule book and any best practices that is followed in our district. You have to refer to our addendum. Eligibility. Somebody mentioned about the eligibility criteria. You have to check the eligibility criteria of those contestants, and we have seen some of the eligibility points. Okay. Review timing protocol. You have to describe about what is the timing process, what is the minimum qualification time limit, and when the green card, yellow card, red card will be shown. So all those timing protocol should be also be shared. Define speaking area. Yes, this has to be uniform for all the speakers. Give an opportunity to test the amplifying equipment. This was already discussed. You have to, somebody mentioned about the dry run. You have to give an opportunity by conducting a dry run so that you will be able to enable the speakers, contestants, and also the role players to, mainly since it is contestant briefing, you have to give enough opportunity for the contestant to test the equipments. Draw for speaking questions. Yes, since it is an online contest right now, you can use the randomization tool. There are several applications, wheels of names or few others randomization tool. You can use that and it should be done in front of all the contestants. Okay. Before the contest, now this is one scenario. If you are a contest chair and the chief judge approaches you to help in finding the voting judges because there were some dropouts or it was done in the last minute, it could be multiple multiple situation that you could think of. Is it fine if you could support to find voting judges for him or her?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No, chief.
No. Any other answer?
No.
Okay.
No.
Absolutely no.
No.
Absolutely no. Yeah, the emphasis is really needed. Absolutely no. Judges have to remain discreet and they are known only not known to anybody else except the chief judge. Okay. So this is one rule that is newly added. Occasionally, a contest will be held with only one contestant. Okay. So if you decide to hold a contest with just one contestant, you have to ensure all the timing, disqualification, eligibility, originality, every other requirement has to be followed, even though there is a one contestant and you are going to hold a contest, conduct a contest. Okay. So this is present in page 9.b5. Right. Okay, so these are, apart from that, we have seen about the contestants briefing, even for the contest masters. Okay, so right now, since we have two different contests, and if we are having each contest master for each of the contests, so the contest master, the script that is shared by the district, that has to be uniformly followed by all the contest masters. Okay, the contest master should also get familiarized with the contest master script by reading it through, going through multiple times, where the passes have to be given, how to call the contestant, what is the format that is followed to call out the contestants' names. Okay, should the contestant names be spelled out? There are multitude of aspects that the contest master has to know. Hence, the contest master has to be also we have to sit with the contest master and understand if he or she is comfortable and familiarized with the contest master script. See, pronunciation of the contestants' names, that is very important, because some people means they may be from different regions, so the pronunciation might be different. So you have to be familiarized with the pronunciation of the contestants' names as well, and also the contestant speech title or the topic. Okay, so in case of a few contest titles, can you please go on mute? The pronunciation of the contest speech title also should be familiarized by the contest master, because when the contest title is pronounced, there might be a need to emphasize or specifically give a stress in certain wordings or certain syllables, right? So that has to be confirmed with the contestant. So contest master should be made familiar with the contest speech title. Contestant speech title. Okay, so sergeant at arms, we discussed earlier, if you have 3 minimum sergeant at arms, it would be really helpful, because in now we are in the season of humorous as well as evaluation speech contest. So in the evaluation speech contest, there is a separate concept of breakout or holding room. In the breakout or holding room, we definitely require 2 sergeant at arms. The reason is that if one sergeant at arms drops off, the other sergeant at arms can pick up, and he or she can continue in the breakout room monitoring the contestants. Okay, and also take care of all the formalities that has to be done in the breakout room. Okay, so the sergeant at arms should be briefed and described in detail about what is the responsibility when he or she is put in the breakout room, what are the protocols that we have to follow. Okay, so if the contestant drops off, how to whom he or she has to report to. Okay, so either to the chief judge or contest chair, all those formalities, the protocols, and also the best practices has to be briefed in detail to the sergeant at arms. Okay, and also handling any crisis scenario, if the contestants drop out or unable to enable their video, so sergeant at arms should have to call out, and if necessary, have to report to the chief judge. Okay. Briefing of the host or admin or tech master, Zoom master in this case. So preferably if you have for higher level of contest or for any contest for that matter. So if he or she is quite experienced or should sit and dedicate some time to gain more knowledge, even if he or she is new, so that they get more knowledge on that, on navigating through that platform, how to give access, okay, how to manage the access, how to create breakout rooms, all those concepts should be known well to the Zoom master or the tech master. How many breakout or holding rooms are required? So that also has to be planned up front. During the contest, what is taken care by the contest chair? Hello?
All the contestants are available.
Okay, so excellent. All the contestants are available.
Timely presence of all the role players.
Yes, timely presence of all the role players. Very, very important. Yes, yes. Okay.
The Zoom meeting confirmation. Yes, it is available.
Okay, Zoom
and
yes,
all the
yes.
contestants audio and video check can be done
yes.
after.
Yes, yes. So
Ensuring asking the chief judge if he or she has their team ready.
Okay, so confirming Dhinender whether the entire team is ready. Yeah, correct. Thank you. So role players are completely attentive throughout the contest. It is very important that they also stay attentive, even though they would have logged in upfront, so they have to stay attentive. Okay, so you remember, always remember that Formula F1 pit stop picture of that video, right? So everybody has to be attentive. As soon as it is like we are facilitating the contestant as a whole team, we have to facilitate the contestants and conduct the contest in a very smooth way. So all of us have to stay attentive. It's not just the contest chair. Each and every role player has to stay attentive. Ensure with the chief judge if all the judges have been briefed, and you can get a confirmation from the chief judge if they are all present in the contest platform. Distribute after once all the speeches gets completed, you can instruct the contest master to distribute the participation certificate, and if needed, you can also conduct the interviews with the profile form that you have got earlier. Handle the protest. It is very, very important. This will be covered by Manju. Handle the protest. Contestants could prefer to lodge protest with you as a contest chair, or also to the chief judge. Okay, so this is one change, a small change in the rule. It is very, very important. Prior to the contest being adjourned, we are always used to the word prior to the results declaration. Okay, so here please see the emphasis prior to the contest being adjourned. The reason is that in case of district contest, the humorous speech contest or evaluation speech contest might be conducted 2 days before the final last day when the results are announced. Okay, so that is the reason they have come up. That is one of the reasons they have come up with this rule prior to the contest being adjourned. Okay, contest chair has to declare that the contest is now adjourned and hand over to MCs or successive role players. Results could be announced later that day. Okay, after both the contests are conducted. So please note this, emphasize on this point. Collect contest results from the chief judge. Yes, the notification of winner sheets that has to be collected from the chief judge. Sorry, the results form, not the notification. The results form has to be collected from the chief judge. Chief judge would be handing it over to you. It would be in a separate, in a reverse order. So you have to get it from the chief judge. And also you should know how to announce the results. It would be done in the reverse order. Okay, so this also would be covered by Manju, and the detailed description of the results announcement is present in this rule. This one question, can you as a contest chair raise a protest since you observe that one of the contestants has plagiarized his or her content from a YouTube video? Can you as a contest chair raise a protest?
No.
No, thank you. So no, strictly no. The protests are limited only to voting judges and contestants. This would also be explained later. Okay, so results declaration, this Manju would be covering. After the contest, what do you do? Contest has got over. After the contest, what do you do? As a contest chair, what do you do? Sorry?
If it is a club level, we will send it to the area, the winner's announcement will have to be shared to area level contest chair.
Okay. Okay. You mean the top 3 winners?
Share it with the chief judge. You need to share the result to the chief judge.
Okay.
All the contestants in the order of their qualification, like
okay.
People also, all the time should be shared.
Okay. 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 Any other answer?
Winner notification to be shared to the chief judge. If it is a division conference, so we need to take attendance and we need to share to the division director to share to district for points.
Okay. 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 Thanks. There is a slight correction. As a contest chair, means let's say you are a division contest chair and you wouldn't be aware of the ranking of the contestants. If there had been 8 or 10 contestants, you wouldn't know who was placed in the 7th place or 6th place, right? So that would be known only to the chief judge. In order to fill that form, the winners notification of contest winners form by the chief judge, you need to provide all the 8 contestants details like their name, their email address, their mobile number, then their club name, all those details, necessary details to be filled in the notification of contest winner form by the chief judge has to be shared. Okay, you wouldn't know in that particular contest, you wouldn't know who was placed in 6th or 7th place, right? So you have to just provide all the contact details to the chief judge and he or she would be taking care of filling the notification of contest winner form. One more important point. I'll tell you why this point I have put it here, because I was one of the chief judge for one division conference, and I had got the details, and I had filled just one or two, means all the 7 or 8 contestants were ordered. However, I didn't fill their mobile numbers and the club names, so that it was quite difficult. For first 3 I have filled, remaining members I haven't filled, so it was very difficult for DTM Reena when she was the district CJ. Okay. And one more important point, ensure chief judge submits the notification of contest winner to the contest chair of the next level. Okay. So if you are a division contest chair, and you have to follow up with the chief judge and make sure he or she submits the notification of contest winner to the district contest chair. Okay. In case if the district contest chair is not finalized, the respective district leaders have to be, it has to be sent to the respective district leaders. Socialize the winners' details and make sure if there is any bills you have purchased, anything like the trophies or mementos, if you have taken care, they get paid. Okay, contestant checklist. It is very important. It is present in page number, this particular page number of rule book. So before the contest, okay, select a topic and prepare your own substantially original speech. Attend the contestants briefing. This is very, very important, because in online contest it becomes very difficult. You have to attend and understand what are the eligibility, means what are the originality, how you can raise a protest. All those intricacies has to be known, and how to handle how to respond in these scenarios. Like Manju, she had a difficulty in presenting her, or if somebody gets dropped off. Okay, so how to come back, and how much time is allocated to you. Okay, so to get back to the meeting room, right? So all those would be shared in the contestants briefing. So make sure you have to be present as part of the contestants briefing. Inform the contest chair about any props. Somebody mentioned about it. Before signing, read the statements in the speaker certification of eligibility and originality. This is very, very important. Whenever we ask, we just simply sign and send it, at least some of us. So try to read what is mentioned, whatever we have discussed earlier in the previous slides, that the same would be mentioned. However, you have to read it and then only sign it. And send the documents on time, very, very important, because they have to follow up with the different several contestants. If it is going to be 2 contests, they have to follow with approximately 15 to 20 contestants. Attend the speakers rehearsal. Yes, the dry run, please make sure you attend it, so that on the day of contest, don't end up in any surprises that your audio is not working, or your speaking area or the position from where you are speaking that is not set, or the equipment is moving. Okay, so all those has to be handled during the dry run and not on the speaking area. During the contest, any props or visual aids that has to be set up during the 1 minute of silence. This for humorous speech contest in this case, and it should be removed. Okay, so this is your own responsibility. And it is mentioned in the rule book that if you are not able to set up this within the 1 minute of silence, you would not be able to use that prop or the visual aid. Okay, so that has to be handled during that 1 minute of silence. You have to inform the contest chair about it. Post your introduction, means after you are announced on the stage, please move to the speaking area and don't delay, because the timers have a specific guidelines when they have to start the speech. These are some of the references. Please go through these. First, the contest rule book, and specifically for the contest chair checklist, you refer to page number 21, and also rule book changes. If you see the rule book changes, they would have given previous year what were the rules and what changes have been done for this year. That also you can go through. And you need not worry, you need not wait for an area director or any district officer to send this. Just use this link for the evaluation speech contest kit and humorous speech contest kit. You will get everything that has to be circulated to the chief judge, or that has to be sent to the contest teams. Okay. Then speech contest tutorials. These are some short videos, quite interesting. And online speech contest best practices. This also you can refer. Okay. Okay. So any other questions?
In an online contest, how do you kind of prevent somebody from reading from a prepared text? Is there some advice?
In the evaluation contest.
Evaluation, or for that matter, any contest. Yeah.
Okay, so as if you would have read the addendum last year, we would have mentioned that you have to place your means in the case of evaluation speech contest, the contestant have to place their notes or the 1177 item, right? The evaluation note sheet they have to place on the table that is visible to the sergeant at arms, and we also instruct that it has to be 3 to 4 feet away from you, and the notes is visible that you are not reading. Okay. The note should be made visible to the sergeant at arms in such a way that they understand that you are not reading it or referring to it by any chance.
But you can always keep a notepad or something open, right? And read it from there, correct?
No, however, as soon as you are moved to the breakout room, you have to enable your video, audio, right? And you have to show, see, in the beginning itself, there are instructions given that you have to use only the 1177, which is the evaluation note sheet, and it should be blank. Okay, once you are entered into the breakout room, you have to show, the sergeant at arms should be made visible that the notes is present on the table. You are not referring anywhere. Okay, so it will be placed in front of the table, right? Or it happens that if you don't have a table or a chair, okay, so there are some contestants who used to fold it and show it that they are placing it in their pockets.
No, I was more referring to a notepad software, right? You can always keep the notepad, open a notepad software and write the entire script.
No, any electronic devices are not allowed, right?
It's not a recording device, right? Notepad is just a text, correct?
No, that's what any electronic electronic stuffs are not allowed to gain any advantage.
Can probably take it offline.
At the end of the day, it is a question of the integrity of the person, right? When we all are Toastmasters, we all are signed up for the Toastmasters basic rules of respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And let us be very clear.
You see, this is the second year of online contest, right? So
yeah, that's what. So if somebody really wants to do something, they can do it. We all know that. Not only in Toastmasters, for anything in this world, right? But you only have to see is it really worth to take all that pain and all that effort to win just a speech contest? I think I will leave it to that individual.
Thank you so much, Satish. Yes, we have to act with integrity. Okay, so I think the time is out. Any questions, please put on the chat message. I'll be getting back, or also I'll get help from the MCs to consolidate and answer them as a team. So now I would like to hand over the stage to distinguished Toastmaster Manju, who would be continuing from the place where she left. Thank you so much. You have been a wonderful audience. Thanks to distinguished Toastmaster Aarti and District Trio for bringing out a separate role for contest management team as a contest management chair. Thanks for giving this opportunity and placing me as part of this role. And for any such queries on contest management, please reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you out. Thank you so much, and over to distinguished Toastmaster Manju.
Thank you so much. So watch out for a link which will be coming. I think you can see either District 120, that is Abhishek Trigunayat, or probably we will have I think Gopika, the MC, Toastmaster Gopika. She'll be putting it in the chat window. Yeah, Abhishek Rante, or you can see. Are you able to see that? Please do fill the feedback for distinguished Toastmaster Subramanian. I want to thank him because he saved the day for me when my screen was completely stuck after that Zoom recording turned on. I think it's some Zoom update which I need to install again. And that brings us to a crucial point as well. Sometimes it happens that due to the technical platform that we are operating, if we are not having the latest update or something also, these kind of issues will happen. So which I think we are trying to cover in the addendum, and addendum will be shared with all the area directors, division directors and the entire district council, and they'll be putting it to vote, and once they review and approve it, it will be shared with each and every one of you. Okay, so now I want to share the screen and I think they have already shared the feedback form, so you can see that. So I'm going to now get into a bit of a comparison of the old rule book and new rule book. Okay, because are you curious how to find whether there are changes in the rule book or not? Okay, so how you can find this? like they say, right, diamonds are very precious. So in a similar manner, if you go to the rule book, we have sent it as, I think the district TLI team has sent as an email to all of you. In that email, you will find pre-session reading material known as the rule book, or you can go to the Toastmaster website, search for 2021-2022. You will be able to get that particular document. It has also been sent by email to you. So if you open the rule book, if you are in a position to open right now itself, please open, because I'm going to refer to something called as black diamond. Okay, if you see, if you are able to open and see the black diamond, let me know. Black diamonds in the left hand side. How many of you were able to find the diamond? Let me see how enterprising you are. Or rather, it's just a matter of fastest fingers first. Yes. Yes, I think you can see the chat window also. Email would have come from District 120 as type. If not, you can go to the Toastmasters website and download it also. Okay, so in this session, we will need it because we'll be having more and more questions also, where we will ask you to go and refer the rule book, and there will be some activities based on that. So now, are you able to see my screen? Okay, hope you are able to see. Yes. I cannot. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. So this is a different document. This is not the rule book. Okay, but this particular document again, which we will be sharing after the session as a post-session reading material. Okay, this particular material is again available in the Toastmasters website. It is comparing last year's rule book to current year's rule book. So shall we see? I think already by now, DTM Subbu has already covered few important points that are there in the new rule book. Can you unmute and say at least one point? He said something about, I'll give you a clue, something about adjournment. Do you remember that?
The contestant, the protesting can happen only before the adjourning of the contest.
Awesome, awesome. So we'll see that, okay? So this particular point, contest adjournment, it was not there in last year's contest. So I'll now go one by one. So if you see the first change, are you able to see the screen? It's pretty simple. Here they say about non-English contests. Okay, non-English contests are purely optional and may be conducted as evaluation, humorous, table topics, or tall tales, right? And of course, non-English contests using the rules of international speech contest also may be conducted. But important thing to note is, in that case, it will have to be specified with the name of the language. For example, Chinese International Speech Contest or Tamil International Speech Contest. In that manner, we'll have to do. So this is the first change. Okay, the next one. So let's go to the second. Yeah, this one again, Distinguished Toastmaster Subbu already mentioned. I think he told about contestant eligibility, right? Maintaining eligibility at all levels of any contest. Okay, so this is a very important point. The reason is, in the olden days, suppose you have qualified at the area, but even if you were really ineligible means you might have paid the money to the treasurer. The treasurer might not have renewed before your contest date for that particular term. Okay, that particular term. Let's take the example of October 2nd. Okay, September 30, you paid the money to your club treasurer. Now you assume that they have paid to TMI, but they didn't. And October 2nd, you came for the contest confident that you have done and you won. You got first prize in the area. But if someone, either a contestant or a voting judge, they come to know and they can raise a protest even after the contest is over. Even if it is not raised as a protest, either the contest chair or the chief judge can find this out post that event and still disqualify you. So this is a big point. Okay, please note, maintain eligibility at all levels of any contest. So contestants, in my next session, when I come back, I'll tell you how to do that. Already Subbu gave you a clue. There's an eligibility tracker which the ExCom and the district officers can find out. So the next change, okay, there are some corrections. So this I'm not going through cancellations. I'm only going for the addition. Okay, the next one is the following are ineligible to compete in any Toastmasters speech contest. So do you remember seeing this in Subbu's presentation? Do you remember that? He covered this point. Do you remember? Voting judge, tie-breaking judge, chief judge, at the same contest type in which they would be competing beyond the club level in any district. Do you remember seeing this?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Do you remember the page number by any chance? If anyone took notes only, they'll know. Or they should have some really sharp memory. Page number, he said some page number also. No problem. I'm just testing you. If you want, you can go to the rule book. Just do a Control F and tell me the page number in the chat window. Okay, so this is another point. Yes. Okay, so this is another point. So even if you're a presenter of an education session, you see that point, right? Even if you're presenting an education session at an area, division or district, yes, in that case, for that particular contest, suppose you are having humorous speech contest and then you are having an education session, you are presenting it, you cannot be contesting in that humorous speech contest or that evaluation session if the education session is tagged along with it. Usually people don't do, but still they have specified it. The next part is, yes, this is another point because you would have seen with respect to be the the eligibility criteria for a chief judge or a voting judge or a tie-breaking judge. I'll explain what is tie-breaking judge in the next session when I come again. Okay, so here only members who join Toastmasters prior to the rollout of pathways in their region can apply speeches from the competent communication manual for eligibility for judging. So this is again last year's rulebook did not have it. But I think by now all of us have adopted pathways, right? Isn't it? So it's okay. You can go for pathways level 2, level 2 completion if you want to judge beyond club level. As in from area onwards, you need to be actually have completed CC6 or level 2. The next one, this again was mentioned, I think, yes. Candidates for elected district leader positions for the term beginning for the subsequent July. So this would be particularly apt when ISC and table topics come, right? Usually March, April, May and all we have that contest. At that time, if you have a candidate who has been a candidate for an elected district leader position. Elected district leader position means, for example, myself, Subbu, we are not elected district leaders. We are in the extended team. We have not been elected. Okay. So the elected district leaders, again, if you go to the speech contest rulebook, it is clearly mentioned which are the roles. Okay. There are roles like district director, the top 7 of the district, along with division directors, area directors, and then the immediate past division district director. Okay, these are the people. You can check in the rule book. The next point, this again Subbu has already mentioned, if only one contestant is there, right? So here just want to explain, if you have a club, right? If you have a club, at a club level, the club can choose. You can go and do a Control F in the rule book. You can find choose, the word choose. Club can choose. Okay, there is a choice given to the club. They can choose to send 2 contestants to the next level. It is basically, suppose you don't have enough number of eligible contestants, etc. In such cases, they can do that. Okay, but having said that, the rule book also says that even if you have 2 contestants or less than 3 contestants, or if only 1 contestant also, right? Still a contest could be held, and if the contest is held, definitely the time qualification, originality, eligibility, all these will be checked. So that means if your club says only 1 is eligible and that person gets time wise disqualified, no one will represent the club. So there is an option, club can choose to send. Okay, please read that word. You can do Control F and do CHOOSE. Yeah. The next point, this is about the adjournment. So adjournment already Subbu mentioned. I'm just reiterating that. If in a contest, you might see, right? We have division contest, we have humorous, evaluation, everything happening on the same day, right? Morning humorous, then you have lunch break, then you have evaluation, right? In such a case, here the contest chair of that morning session will be adjourning that session and then declaring the break. Okay, so then what happens is, if the results are announced together at the end, if the contest chair is already adjourned, you cannot raise protest. Okay, so you have to raise it before the contest chair adjourns the morning session. Okay, the other point is, if you have multiple day event, etc., right? You may have multiple day event also, the same thing will apply, right? You may have day 1 something, day 2 something, but results are announced on the second day also, same rule will apply. If there are multiple contests taking place at one event, they are stating that this year's rulebook is very clear. Each contest must be officially adjourned prior to the beginning of the next contest. That means if the evaluation contest starts, you can no longer raise a protest for humorous. Very important rule. Contestants, voting judges, please take note. In the silence, right, before the contest chair comes and adjourns it, you'll have to raise the protest. And protest can be raised only by 2 sets of people. Who are those 2 sets of people? You can type in the chat window.
Judges and other contestants.
Yes, voting judges and contestants for that contest only. It's not, if I'm contesting in ISC, I cannot go and raise a protest for table topics. Or the other way around. If I am in that contest, only for that I can raise. Okay, so judges also say same thing. Judges for the other contest cannot raise a protest, only for that. So the chief judge will know, right? Chief judge will take care, and of course the protest can be raised to the contest chair also. Contest chair will be checking whether you're a contestant for that. Now there are few pages. If you see the pages, it will say video speech contest. Now if you see video speech contest, there are clubs which don't come under any districts. Okay, in such a scenario, they are advised to send video speech, which with all the audio, video details, etc. given here. Zooming not permitted, camera must have an unobstructed in focus view, etc., etc. This is not applicable for our district because we are falling under a district, so I'm not going into details of that. If you're really interested, you can go through. If you are part of an undistricted club and if you're part of D120, then you will not be eligible for participating in video speech contest. So that means anyone member of D120, you cannot be a video speech contest, you cannot be sending video speech, especially for the ISC. Okay, that's clearly mentioned in the rule book. So I think that brings me, because all these points are related to video speech, which is not applicable for us. Okay, and there's one small point here. It says contestant. Each contestant selects their own topic, right? We all select our own speech topics. So some of the content may be personal in nature and may have some language ideas, beliefs that some audiences may consider sensitive. It may be, for example, like say I'm having a speech about non-veg food. Maybe the people not having non-veg may find it little bit repulsive, or little bit kind of disturbing. Okay, so this is specifically mentioned, but while we say that in District 120 we still have the sex, religion, politics, that's still not allowed. So that brings me to the end of this session, and I'll now share quickly one slide. So this is more like a question to you. Are you aware of what are the biases that typically judges have? What are the biases that typically judges have?
Familiarity.
Yeah, I'm actually showing the screen now. Yeah, familiarity. Yes.
Halo effect. Halo effect.
Halo effect. Yeah, you got the screen, no? So now everyone will answer. Okay, but let me ask you this way: what is reverse halo effect? Halo effect, I know. See, I know Satish Menon. He has been currently district director. Next year he'll be IPDD, immediate past division director. After that he's contesting. We all know him. There's some, we think, okay, he's the past district director, so let me give him first place in the speech contest. Now that is halo effect. What is reverse halo effect?
Reverse halo effect, what I believe is, if a contestant has not performed well in any other contest, and in this contest, even if he performs better, you should not have that pre-notion and then judge according to the performance on that day.
Okay, very good point, but that we can call it under second time around. Okay, we'll put that your point. That's an excellent point. We'll put it as second time around. But reverse halo effect is, suppose I am seeing a person, that person is not at all smiling, not having much of body language, or, very much just sitting and speaking. Now I don't like it, that body language is less. Doesn't mean I should reduce his speech uh, content development marks or his grammar. Maybe his grammar is really good, language is good, content is the okay, only delivery because of one aspect, or the other way around, maybe the person's English is not so good. So just based on that one aspect which I don't like, I'm reducing the mark in all aspects of ballots. Okay, so that is reverse halo effect. And of course we have prejudices and personal preference, just like now I mentioned, if a person speaks about non-veg food and you don't like non-veg food, other way around also, you may want to reduce the marks. No, you should not be doing, because judges should be not only knowledgeable and good listeners, but they should be fair, right? Fair, accurate, and already Satish Menon mentioned you should use integrity while judging. Okay, what is champion for the underdog? What is champion for the underdog? Second time around, earlier one person mentioned, right? Second time this person is coming. So because of that, last time he did this, or it can be the other way around also. Last time he did this, so he lost last time. At least this time, let me help him win. That is championing. That could also be champion for the underdog, but it can also be second time around in that case. But suppose I see some person, that person is really, maybe it's a new Toastmaster, and they are trying to participate in the district contents out of sympathy for them, right? Underdog. Out of sympathy, I'm putting all the extra points for them to make them win deliberately. That is championing the underdog. Okay, so none of these things should be done by a judge. And of course, speaker position. What is speaker position? Bias.
First one. I'm listening to the first speaker, so I am based my further judgment based on the first speaker.
Excellent, excellent. It can be that way, or it can be when the first speaker comes, I'm so impressed. They say, first impression, the best impression. I'm so impressed. After that, anyone who comes, I'm not even, in my mind, it's already said. Or the other way around. I may think the first is not good enough, and the last person's only I remember. So I say, oh, the last is the best. So let's not do that. The rule book clearly states, the TMI also, TMI judging guidelines, it clearly states this way. Not the rule book, the TMI guidelines says that you should take notes while listening to the speech. Even as an audience, you can take notes while listening to the speech. Please don't put the ballot then and there. Based on your notes, try to put the ballot. So that means take notes of what each speaker is telling to avoid the bias. If you try putting then and there, sometimes the bias creeps in. So these are some things I just wanted to cover. And now I would like to invite a very passionate person who's making lots of quotes on a day-to-day basis. She keeps creating quotes. She's a former area director. She's also the first YLP coordinator in District 120. None other than Toastmaster Vaishali, to tell you all about voting judges and also to tell you more about the ballot. Just now I told you that in ballot there are certain things, right? Body language and all. She will tell you more about that. So let's welcome with a round of applause Toastmaster Vaishali Sridhar Babu.
Thank you, Manju. Am I audible and visible? Am I audible and visible?
Yes. You can share your screen, Vaishali.
Morning to all judges of District 120 who have joined on this wonderful Sunday morning. Manju has already told about what the session is all going to be about. We are going to briefly discuss about the voting ballots. So how we are supposed to judge a contest depending upon the split up that Toastmasters International gives us. Before that, we are going to also run through some of the basic etiquette and the responsibilities of voting judges when we are presenting ourselves in the panel of judges during a contest in Toastmasters. Moving on. So first, we'll run through some of the responsibilities of a judge, a voting judge especially. Could some of you tell me what are the basic responsibilities of a voting judge?
We should know the criteria for judging.
Okay. What else? Criteria and judging. Something else?
They should listen fully and then judge.
Listen completely and then judge. Okay. Both answers are accepted. So we'll also run through some of the basic responsibilities of a voting judge. First, it's about ensuring fairness and impartiality to the contestant. So Manju had already briefed us about all the bias rules and other things. So being impartial and being fair to the contestants is the basic and primary responsibility of a voting judge. The next is to uphold the reputation of Toastmasters International, because when it comes to judging a contest, we have got all kinds of rules, the etiquettes, the kind of addendum that is being passed in the District 120. As a voting judge, it is completely a responsibility to stick on to all these rules and then go ahead with the voting process. The third is about giving a good speech for the audience. So most of the time what happens, contestants, they get rejected when they lose the contest. So as far as the judging is more fair, it will be an encouragement for the contestants to come back and participate again in the future contest. So that is more important. As voting judges, we all have to ensure that we keep that kind of diligence during voting so that it becomes even more fair and impartial. The next is to fulfill your commitment to self-improvement. So someone was telling, we have to listen to the contest attentively. That becomes a very, very important aspect. Most of the time what happens when we are judging, when there are 10 contestants, normally in division contest or district contest, first 2 or 3 contestants, we listen so attentively, then we take a break or we lose our interest or the energy level goes down, then we again flip up to the last 3 contestants. So being attentive from the beginning to the end and giving the correct decision for all the 10 contestants is the attribute of self-improvement that we take back as voting judges. Next is to keep the role confidential to the maximum extent possible. Now, for example, you're going to be a judge in a division contest. That day, your VPE calls and tells you to take up a role. So how are you going to refuse? You're going to tell that you're going to be a judge in so-and-so division and that's why you cannot take up the contest, take up the role in the club. So what kind of answer you're going to tell your club members?
I'm already engaged.
So already engaged. Yes. So it is better to keep your role as much as confidential until the contest gets over. Even after the contest, it is even more better. So don't reveal yourself when you're committing for the roles of voting judges to anyone that is possible except for the chief judge who has asked for you. Refrain from public criticism of the contest. Normally what happens, people tend to ask us after we get into the voting panel, how did the contest go? What did that contest very bad? No good speech at all, this, that. So let us not get into those kind of criticism. Every contest has got its own flavor. People in Toastmasters have come to learn, improvise, and then progress. So let us not get into any kind of criticism after being a voting judge in the contest. The last is about reveal the ranking in accordance with the official policy, which means at times what happens, the judging results, whatever you give may match with the results. It is better not to reveal about those things. Whatever the results I gave, that only was declared in the final. I gave second to this person, but that person came first. So let us not reveal the ranking, whatever we had done during our voting in the public or in the discussions during our clubs or even after the contest is over. These are some of the basic responsibilities that we as voting judge have to uphold when we are representing in the panel. So next is about good judges are. So Manju has already covered about this: accurate, fair, trustworthy, knowledgeable, and good listeners. These are the basic things, basic qualities that good judges have to possess. So I'm not going to re-explain about all these things. Now comes the major thing. What is the difference between a judging and evaluating? What is judging? What is evaluating? Any answers?
Evaluation is telling both the pros and cons. Judges only judging based on the guidance availability for the rule book. As per the rule book, what is done?
Okay. Any other answers? What is the difference between judging
and evaluation is based on my perception. Judging is based on the rules.
Fine. Fair enough. So judging at the end, we normally select a winner. It is based on a competitive environment when it comes to judging. It is about how a person is better than the other individual who is also competing on the same basis. Whereas when it comes to evaluation, it is all about apprising the person about the betterments and giving the kind of advice so that the person performs better the next time. And as said, evaluation is based on your perceptions, your thoughts and your ideas. Whereas when it comes to judging, we have to stick on to the rules and focus in such a way that we see the winner at the end of the judging. The most important thing, judges' decisions are always confidential. Fine. So it is very, very important for us to maintain the confidentiality More than the chief judge, voting judges hold the even more higher responsibility to stay confidential throughout the process. So that is more important. Next is about, this has been spoken so much, even Subbu has told it, contest rule book. Ensure that we go through all the new rules that have been added in the rule book. Manju has already explained us some of the rules that have been changed. Also in the next session, we'll be go through few other rules which have been added to the recent rule book. Ensure that you get through the rule book and have all the basics of judging process before you get into the contest. Because as Satish Menon said, it is rewriting someone's destiny. People would have been contesting for decades. People would have been contesting for ages. We as voting judges hold that basic responsibility to stick on the rules so that we make the judgment as fair and impartial as possible. So now comes the eligibility to be a voting judge. So there are two levels. For a club level contest, all we need to have is to be a paid member of Toastmasters International. If anybody who is a paid member can be a voting judge in Toastmasters for all the contests. With District 120, we have this best practice of choosing people who have attended the judges training program. It's a preference given to people so that this one session we all take away about all the new rules that have been changed, about the addendum that we are passing, any kind of best practices that we as a district want to practice. So people who have attended the judges training program will be given the preference to be the voting judge in all the upcoming contests of the season at both the club level, area and division, and at the district level. So at club level, it sticks only to be a paid member. When it comes to area, division, and district, again, we have to be a paid member for a minimum of 6 months. And also the person should have completed minimum 2 levels in Pathways for people who have joined Toastmasters after Pathways was implemented. People who were in the membership before the Pathways are still eligible to go ahead and be a judge with the completion of CC6. Fine. Now assume a person was a Toastmaster for 5 years and had completed till CC6, and for 1 year the person has taken break and the person is resuming his membership in the fraternity. So now in what basis the person is eligible to be a voting judge? Assume someone has already completed CC6 and in 1 year the person was not in Toastmasters, so now the person has reinstated. Is the person eligible to be a voting judge or not?
No, because he has rejoined, now it is only under Pathways.
Okay, the person has rejoined, it's only Pathways. Okay, fine. Any other answers?
I think he should be eligible.
Okay. Actually, the person is eligible because whenever the person reinstates, all the educational progress that the person has done in the past is also getting reinstated. So if the person has already completed CC6 or maybe someone who has completed level 2s in Pathways and taken a break in the past 6 months, maybe for the previous tenure the person didn't renew, but for this tenure the person is coming back and renewing. Now the person becomes eligible because all the educational legacy the person has left with Toastmasters also gets reinstated along with the membership. So when you're looking, if you're a CJ and when you're looking for voting judges, if someone has taken a break and come back, check on their educational background. If that fits into the rules, you're very well good to go ahead and choose that person to be a voting judge in your panel. Fine. So these are the basic eligibilities to be a voting judge. Yeah. Now we'll see about what are the restrictions of in being a voting judge. Just what are the rules that we have to follow so that we will not be eligible, we will be ineligible to be a voting judge. First thing, when it comes to beyond the area level, the voting judge must not be a member of any club in which a contestant is a member. For example, in division and district, we have some rules in selecting judges where these many number of people should be from the same area, these many number of people should be from the same division. In those cases, if a person from your club is contesting in the division or at the district level, then you are ineligible to be a voting judge in that particular area of the contest. Fine. So if somebody is contesting from your club and you have been asked for a voting judge in the same contest, then you cannot go as a voting judge. You as a voting judge can refuse even if the CJ is unaware. If somebody has backed out at the last moment and if they are coming and approaching you, all you need to say is a big no. Fine. So the next thing is members who are serving in the contest officials. At times what happens, the Sergeant at Arms drops out at the last moment. So some of the voting judges, they perform the role of an SAA and then come back and sit and do the balloting. Don't get into those kind of practices. We always want to have the contest in a more diligent way. Let us have the contest team separate and the judging team separate. I am a voting judge. Anyway, nobody is going to see my name in the Zoom. Only it is going to be written as judge. So nobody will know that I was the voting judge in the panel. So why don't I support the contest master or the contest chair? Go and play a role just for 2 minutes and then come back. Don't get into those kind of practices. If you are a voting judge, don't waste your energy. Save all your energy to listen to the contestants and give a fair voting for all the contestants who are contesting. So whoever are any kind of role players are not supposed to be the voting judge in the same contest. So the next is voting judge is the same contest type in which they would be competing beyond the club level in any district. For example, assume you have won the evaluation contest and you would be representing your area in the division level. Fine. Now, someone is approaching you to be a voting judge in humorous contest of a different division. You are a contestant at division level. Assume in division A, you are a contestant for evaluation. Now you have been approached as a voting judge in division C for humorous contest. You're eligible to go or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
No.
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 Okay. Okay. So what it says is
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So when you are representing as a contestant beyond your club level, you're not supposed to be a voting judge elsewhere. After you're going to area level or to a division level, you are not able to unfortunately win that contest, then you're actually eligible to go back and do. As long as you hold that contestant position, it is better not to go as a voting judge in any other division. According to the rule book, we are not even supposed to be as voting judges in any other district, not just in 120, even in 82 or 91. If you're being approached as a voting judge and you're still a contestant at a division level or at an area level, we are actually ineligible to be the voting judges even in any other district, not in just district 120. Fine. Now, these are all some of the restrictions that come from the rule book in Toastmasters International. Apart from that, it is also good to go ahead and abide by some of the integrity rules. For example, assume you and one more member, you both together are in the same club in division A, and the person is competing in division B because the person is a dual member. Fine. Now, are you eligible to go and represent as a judge in division B?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. According to rule book, there are no restrictions, but based on the integrity practices, it is better not to go if the person from your club who is also a dual member in some other club and is representing at a different level. It is good to refrain from those kind of practices so that we don't get into unwanted kind of controversies, so that when after the results are declared, they both are from the same club, that's why that person got selected. So just to avoid all this kind of discrepancy, it is better to stick on to the basic kind of integrity rules. We may have relatives, we may have colleagues, or whatever this. If the person has been related to you in other kind of proximity in terms of professional or at personal level, it would be good to step back as voting judge in those cases. Fine. So that is one best practice that we would want to implement as part of District 120 when you are being approached for voting judges, especially in case of dual members. You are a repeat. You, for example, I and Manju together are members in the same club of division A. Now I go and contest in division B. Manju could avoid being a judge in division B in the contest where I'm being a contestant, because we both together are holding membership in the same club else. Fine. As a best practice, it is better to step off when you've been asked as voting judge, especially for the people who are contesting in dual membership basis.
What if I come to know only after contest begins that someone is known to me?
In that case, we wouldn't be able to do anything, sir. So that is the reason we have this approach of knowing the contestants before. So from the chief judge has to get it from the contestants. So it is actually up to the rule of the CJ and the contestant to work it out together. Knowing the contestants and knowing them if they hold dual membership elsewhere, and to check if all those members are not from the same club. So that is actually the duty of a CJ. And apart from that, if you have that vicinity, if you have that knowledge that this person is also a member elsewhere, it's better to step back. In terms of ignorance, we wouldn't be able to do anything. We'll take it as a lesson learned, and from the next contest season, if you've been approached for the same person kind of a combination, it's better to back. So this is the ballot thing that we have. So this comes with the eligibility and the code of the ethics. So every time now it's an online contest. So ensure that you select the appropriate contest in which you will be judging and write the date of the contest and the level and send this sheet back to your chief judge. So ensure that you fill this and then send it back to them. So here we once again we have all the eligibility rules which we will be able to go through just before the contest begins. And here ensure that you sign and write your complete name and then send it back to the chief judge. Now it is all online, so most of us we just leave it as straight. Before we used to have the printout, we used to write our name, sign it, and then give it back to the chief judge. But now we have left this practice because we have turned online. But still the PDFs are editable. So go ahead, write your name, and then send it back to the chief judge. And as chief and CJs, ensure that you get all the judges eligibility form from all the voting judges who have been chosen for the contest. So now we'll get into the most important part of voting, the ballots. So first we'll run through the humorous speech ballots. In humorous speech ballots, we have got 3 sections. One is the content, delivery, and the language based on which the marks shall be awarded. Now we'll get through each one of these quickly and see what kind of the parameters that have to take priority when you are awarding marks in each of the sections. First, we'll run through the content. Before that, you could see this ballot. You as a voting judge have written this ballot and you have passed it to the CJ. So is it the correct ballot? Will your judging be considered by the CJ?
No, because you have given second place to 2 people.
Yes. So normally what happens when we do the ranking, we get the tie even before the CJ gets, fine. So 2 people together, they get 77, 82. So we wouldn't be sure of who to give the second place or who to give the first place. So few of the voting judges, what they do, at times they write both the names in those places and then they send it back to the CJ. You as voting judges are entitled to write only 1 name per place when sending it back to the CJ. Else your ballot will be disqualified. Your ballot will be not considered for the tally counting. This is something that as voting judges, we all have to remember. Ensure to write only 1 name. By chance, if you are getting any ties over your ballots, make a decision and write only 1 name, sign, write your name and then send it back to the CJ. Fine. Again, during the online contest, most of us, we write 1, 2, 3 in WhatsApp or we put it in the group chats and then send it up. As a best practice, either try to type it in the PDF and then send it back, or else take a blank paper, write first place, second place, third place, sign it, write your name, take a photo of it and then share it in the WhatsApp or the Zoom digital media, whatever you are using. So that by chance, if there are any protests that are being raised or if there are any kind of discrepancies, that will share as the authentic proof for the CJ to run through the judging process. So ensure that you're at least writing in a blank piece of paper, signing, writing your name and then sending back. By chance, if you're not able to digitally edit the PDF and then send back to them. Ensure as a best practice, even if your CJ is not asking, even if the other voting judges who are in the panel are not doing that, people who are all attending this session, ensure to write it in the paper and then send it back to the chief judge. Now we'll get through the ballot split up. For content, we have speech development, effectiveness, speech value, and audience. So we have got 4 parameters. When it comes to speech development, we all have to focus if the speech has got an opening, body, and conclusion. So that is very important. Especially in humorous speech contest, what happens? At times people tend to give speeches in the style of a stand-up comedy. Fine. They continue to keep telling jokes one after the other. So ensure that you have a proper opening, body, and conclusion. So that is one parameter that you have to look for when you are putting your marks for the category of speech development. Next is when it comes to the effectiveness, audience reception. Now when the online mode, you will not be able to judge the audience reception. If people are laughing, if the audience are laughing, if they are clapping. So in that case, you as a judge are also a major part of the audience. See how much of the humor you are able to take up, how much of the humor you are able to relate it, how much you are receiving that speech from the speaker. So when it comes to effectiveness, measure it by the audience reception. In the case of online mode, you as an audience have to take the decision and then award your marks for the effectiveness. Next is for the speech value, justifies the act of speaking, which means the meaningfulness and the originality to the audience. Here where what we are all talking about, the originality, it comes under the umbrella of speech value. So you as a voting judge have the right to check on the originality and how much of the meaning that the person is actually rendering to the audience. The next is about the audiences. Did the people understand and laugh at the humor? Again, you have to ask yourself, was I able to relate to the joke the person said? Or was I able to relate to the content what the person was speaking? Was I able to understand what the comedy was all about? So this is the way you have to go ahead and rate your content: speech development, effectiveness, speech value, and for the audience. Next, for delivery, it is all about the physical thing, voice and the manner. When it comes to physical, the presentation of the speech is all about the body language, the gestures, the expressions the person makes, and the effective use of the speaking area. Even before the contest begins, the speaker would have defined the speaking area to the contest chair. So ensure that the person doesn't go out of the frame or keep too much of a movement. So how much of the physical movements, the body language is appealing to you. So depending upon that, you would be awarding your marks for the physical thing. Next is about the voice. Voice includes the voice modulation, vocal variety, the pitch, and the volume. So these are the parameters that comes into picture where you have to consider and award your marks. Assume a person is not moving at all and standing all through at one place, but the vocal variety is too good. So what could be the score that you would give out of 30? So is it because one thing the person is not done, you would not be giving any marks, or you would be considering at least one and then awarding that? What could be the approach in that case? If someone has got no movements at all, but the vocal variety is too good.
Oh, so only for the vocal variety we can give.
Only for the vocal variety, the marks should be given. So then last in the delivery part is about the manner. The manner when they talk about this, how much the person is enthusiastic in giving the speech, how much the person is interested in giving the contest. Basically, if you have to tell about the manner, it is about the attitude of the speaker, how they interact with the audience, how much appealing they are to the audience is the thing that has to be considered in the manner when you are giving your scores. Okay, the last thing is about the important thing, the least mark, but the most important thing is about the language, the appropriateness, which refers to the choice of words, and the correctness in which the person is choosing the grammar. Now assume there is one person who has used all kind of flowery language, all idiomatic expressions, all words from the dictionary, but the amount of laughter that had gained at the end of the humorous speech was not. The speech was not humorous at all. Whereas there was one more person whose speech, who had a very normal use of words, the grammar was standard, but the person's speech had got a lot of humor. So which one you think is an appropriate thing to rate in that case?
First speaker.
First speaker. First speaker or second speaker?
Second speaker.
Okay. And we
I'm sorry. I would imagine that you give marks for specific categories of speeches and you don't make a common judgment. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what happens is at times, for example, assume for the first contestant, you finish awarding all the marks where the person had lot of humor, and in terms of language, the person's grammar was very standard, and you assume you have given 10. Now the second speaker comes in and the person's language is so flowery, the grammar, the usage of words, everything was extraordinary, and you're giving 15 for the second contestant. Now don't go back and reduce the marks for the first contestant because the first contestant has because the second contestant has overperformed the first contestant. Whatever the marks that you have awarded for the previous person was depending upon their usage, their choice of words, and their presentation. Now, just because one more contestant overperforms or overshines the other, don't go back and reduce your scores for the person who had actually justified to the minimum eligibility that was required. This is one thing that we as voting judges have to keep in mind while giving our scores. Fine. When you're going back and revisiting your scores, do it based on what the person has performed and not because of the comparative parameter that the other person who as a later contestant has come into the stage. So this is all about the humorous speech voting ballots. And anyway, at the end, we have a small demo also. There will be looking on the balloting. So now we'll move on to the evaluation speech ballots. In evaluation speech ballots, 4 categories: analytical, recommendation, and communication. Again now. So is this voting ballot valid? Will the CJ be considering it if we are sending it this way?
Name and signature are missing.
Name and signature are missing. If you don't sign or if you don't write your name, then your ballot will not be considered for voting by the chief judge. Ensure that you sign the ballot and write your name and then send it back to the CJ. When it comes to the district contest and all, it is very important for us to fill all these things and then send back the PDF. So unless and otherwise you do it, you wouldn't be able to consider it for voting. So now we'll go to the evaluation ballot. Evaluation ballot, we have got 4 things: analytical, recommendations, technique, and summation. When it comes to analytical quality, what we all have to look for is identify if the evaluator, the person is talking about both the strengths and the weakness, the pros and the cons, what went well and what could have the person should improve. So this is all about the analysis, how much the person has analyzed, how much has the evaluator spent his effort in analyzing and then speaking on the content is something that we all have to consider in the analytical quality section. And there's also something, the analysis what he made is really logical and is relevant to the speech that was rendered. The second thing is about the recommendations. Ensure that the recommendations, whatever that have been given, are in an optimistic and positive way. The person shouldn't simply be saying that this was so bad, there was no body language at all, there was no vocal variety at all. How much in an optimistic way the contestants actually says in the terms of the improvement areas is something what has to be considered. Assume the person has given good kind of recommendations, but it was not in a very positive way. Then we have to take a call on how we are going to award marks in the recommendation section. Next thing is about the technique. When it comes to the technique, a lot of time what happens, the contestants, they make so much of analysis, they give recommendations, but they tend to miss the technique that is being given. So ensure, look for the technique. If the evaluator or the contestant is actually giving a technique in which the contestant will be able to improve and practically implement that. For example, a person has got only restricted kind of a body language. The person is giving a technique kind of, it would be nice if you could do a little amount of dance steps so that will improvise your speech. Then as an audience and also as a judge, we are supposed to think how much practical it is to go and apply that and then present the speech in the future. So when it comes to the technique, we all have to stick on to the logical and the practicality of its future implementation. And the last thing is, look for if the person is actually making a summation. If there is no conclusion, then this area of the ballot would be left out. For whenever the time is overloaded, when it goes to red, normally contestants, they tend to miss on the conclusion. So we all have to look for all these 4 parameters and then go for the evaluation. And most important thing while doing an evaluation judging is, as voting judges, we all have to listen to the target speaker. That is one thing at times most of us miss. What we do, the target speaker, we don't pay much of an attention. We directly get into the first contestants and start listening from there. But as voting judges, it is very important for us to listen to the target speech. Only then we will be able to see if the evaluations are really done in appropriateness and in relevance to the speech that was delivered. So as voting judges, ensure that you pay 100% attention to the target speaker before marking your evaluation ballot. Fine. And one best practice is, by chance, people who are very comfortable with digital technology, you can go for Excel sheets rather than making it manual, because we don't go for printouts in the online mode. Probably the forthcoming season of contest is also online. So what you can do is make an Excel calculation. From there, you can write your ballots and then send back to them. So any questions so far in terms of balloting? Any doubts? Okay, thank you.
Can the ballot be made digital, like voting process?
Voting process, we don't have an official kind of a confirmation from Toastmasters International on that, but few people, they go for Google Forms and marking that and other things. But it is better to go for the basic practice of Excel sheets. By chance, if that kind of a thing is right, so we will be able to backtrace and then go for other kind of things.
Yeah. Just to add on, actually, the signature part, still the TMI is still insisting on the signature part. So even if you use digital means, still that the bottom part of the ballot, right, we still need to have that signature and then upload it. Or send it to the chief judge or the tally counter. Like if you're a tie-breaking judge, you can send to CJ. If you're a voting judge, you can send to the respective tally counter.
So in interest of time, I'll just run through the last thing. The last
Should
thing is
we,
about
just one clarification.
Yeah.
Should we destroy the judges evaluation sheet after the contest?
That is always a good practice to do, but being in the digital medium, it is going to stay only in your personal computers or laptops. So it's good to go ahead and delete them, but again, that depends upon the individual. But it's
Okay.
always a good practice to destroy them.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
last thing is about the voting judges and the etiquette. So remember to write only one name against the winning position. Signed copies are mandatory because that is what Toastmasters International are expecting for all the voting judges when they are sending it to the chief judge. And do not swap the ballot. Sometimes what happens at the club level contest, same contestants tend to repeat in both the categories. 1, 2, 3 in evaluation just gets swapped to 2, 3, 1 in humorous. So when you're sending the ballots, ensure that you write the correct amount of 1 to the winners, the first runner-up and second runner-up, and then send it to the chief judge. This normally happens at club levels where the contestants are minimal and the same amount of contestants are winning in both the genres of the contest. Ensure that you're sending only the correct names for both the categories. And the general rule that we always keep saying is do not consider time. Just because the person has overgone or overshot the timing and you as a voting judge have noticed it, that is not into our consideration at all. That is up to the CJ and the timer to do it. Fairly go ahead and give your marks for the person. And if the person whom you saw in red tends to be the winner, still go ahead and put it in your ballot and give it to the CJ. Do not take the timing into your consideration at all while doing your voting process. And the other thing is, ensure to mark your ballots only in that 1 minute of silence. At times what happens, we keep writing and then we miss it off. So we tend to miss the introduction of the next contestant who comes on the stage. So stick on to the process of marking the ballots only during that 1 minute of silence. By chance, if you're not able to do it, park it, pay attention to the next contestant, give your balloting and then combine together, put it at the last when you're given that 2 minutes of silence. Please don't overshoot your time and miss the introduction of the next contestant. The next is about staying unbiased and not getting trapped in halo effect. We have discussed a lot about halo effect, reverse halo effect. Manju has spoken about it, and even at the starting, Satish had explained. So that is something as voting judges, we all have to be very, very cautious and stay diligent towards it. Next is taking notes while listening, so that especially during division contests or even at area contests, when the contestants are too many, we tend to miss attention for that 1 hour or 1.5 hours continuously listening to people. So better take notes so that when you're revisiting your ballots, it actually helps you to mark the exact scores and then submit it for the CJ. The last point, as I said, in the evaluation contest, listen to the target speaker. That is the first thing that we have to do as a voting judge in an evaluation contest. Listen to the target speaker so attentively, then go ahead and mark your ballots. Fine. So these are all the things. These are the additional resources that we have from Toastmasters for all the voting kind of process. So in interest of time, if there are any more questions, you can put it in the chat window. Put together, we can pick it up at that. With this, I'll hand over the control back to DTM Manju.
Yeah, I have some good news for everyone. The TLI chair and the TLI team mentioned that it may be time to hand it over to the MC. I think MC has a very interesting announcement for you. So over to the ebullient MC, Toastmaster Gopika. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vaishali. I think feedback form for Vaishali also would be posted in the chat window. So let's await the interesting announcement from Toastmaster Gopika.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much to trainers for this amazing session. And now it's time for a break. Let's go for a quick break, and everyone will be transferred into a breakout session or breakout room for networking. And if you want to share your thoughts and learnings on the session, you can do that there. So yes, let's go for a quick break and come back right on time so that we'll be able to wrap up right on time too. So we go for a quick 5 minutes break. Thank you.